Hey guys, Joseph Henson here with Henson CPA Group. This week we are talking about owner retirement accounts. We want to make sure that the owner retirement planning and building wealth beyond the clinic starts today and not in 5 years when you're ready to retire tomorrow. This is how veterinary owners can secure their future. Why does retirement planning matter? Many clinic owners only seem to want to focus on day to day operations and overlook their personal wealth. A lot of folks I talk to say, well, I mean, it's just so hard to actually make this work when I need to make sure I'm able to pay my employees. I need to make sure I'm able to pay the bills, keep my lights on, and all of that. And yes, I agree. But your personal wealth is also extremely important. Proper planning ensures financial security independent of clinic income. Whether the clinic is sold, whether you do a buyout agreement over several years, whether you bring on an associate who's going to potentially buy into the clinic, with proper planning today, you can set yourself up for a retirement that is much more comfortable than what you're figuring it was yesterday. Planning early will give you more options, less stress, and a higher net worth at retirement. Common retirement challenges for veterinarians. Clinic profits are often reinvested, and this will leave little for personal savings. Owners rely too heavily on practice sale or Social Security. They're wanting to sell their practice, and that is how they're truly going to make money for retirement. When it comes down to it, if they can get $500,000, sometimes, hey, that's enough to get me through a few years. But that's not always something you can rely on. Just like Social Security, that can't be your only nest egg. Inconsistent retirement contributions year to year. You need to be consistent and prioritize retirement. It actually does two things. Even with limited knowledge about retirement accounts, you can reduce taxable income today by investing in traditional IRAs or traditional 401ks. There's a lot of things you can do. Having a limited knowledge of tax advantaged accounts can also really hinder your retirement future. Retirement options for owners. You have a SEP IRA. These are extremely easy to set up, and they have tax deductible contributions, which means if you make $100,000 and you put $10,000 in, your income will drop by $10,000. So now you're only being taxed on $90,000. Solo 401k, higher contribution limits. It will allow employee and employer contribution for matches. A defined benefit plan. This will give you a large tax deferred contribution. This is extremely nice for high earners. This can be a huge tax planning benefit if you have liquid cash. Outside of that, you do have brokerage accounts, real estate, other business ventures. There's other options as well. How to decide which plan is right for you. You need to consider the clinic cash flow and personal income needs. If you are living off of $100,000 now, you need to look at what does that look like in retirement. Will your house be paid off? Will you have any dependents at home? Will you have any unknown needs like health insurance that you're not planning for until you hit 65? Evaluate your contribution limits versus the desired retirement savings. You should also factor in tax benefits now versus taxes later. Do you want to pay the tax today, or would you rather defer that tax for the future problems? How to decide which plan is right for you. If you are a small business, a SEP IRA is going to be great. If you have a higher, they do have different limits. So with the SEP IRA, a small clinic, you can contribute up to 25% of your income, which can be a max of for $69,000. They are very simple to set up. They're tax deferred, and they're good if you have steady income. If every year you have $50,000 that you're reinvesting, you can take $30,000 of that and leave the $20,000 to reinvest and still put money into retirement. A solo 401k. This is for the solo clinic owner. You're the only one working. This will allow $23,000 and 25% of profit, a max of $69,000. So potentially you're at $92,000 a year. This is a little bit more complex. You need someone to help you set it up. They are tax deferred, which means that $92,000 will grow and you'll pay tax on it when you take it out in the future. $92,000 though, at an average tax rate of 25% is $23,000 in tax savings today. This fits if you have a fluctuating income. If you aren't able to necessarily just put $69,000 away because of the profit, you want to put $5,000 in here and see what's left at the end of the year. That does allow you to have a little more flexibility. A defined benefit plan, high earners near retirement. This is based on the age and income. You could put $100,000 or more away. You have to have an actuary. This is extremely complex, not something you're going to want to try to do yourself. If you are a DIY person, do not DIY this. Tax benefit is a biggest tax deduction. Putting away 100, 200,000, 150,000 and letting that be there every year, and this is per year, is huge. But your clinic needs to be cash flowing $300,000-$400,000 a year, probably. You can look at it this way also and say, can we combine a 401k with a defined benefit? That's a great question. If you're uncertain on how to do this, I actually know several folks who are financial advisors that can help you with that. Who is this for? This is for consistent and high profit clinics. If you are a clinic that is just eking by, you don't have a lot of extra cash, it is not one that is for you. You need to be looking at a solo 401 or a SEP IRA or a simple 401. Contribution strategies. Consistent automated contributions are key. Set it and forget it. If you can give yourself a small raise, 5%, just go ahead, do a 5% contribution. Every year, up it just a little bit so you don't even notice it. You want to maximize tax deductible contributions before year end. You also want to adjust contributions as profit grows. This is not a set it and forget it. It is a let's reevaluate it yearly and see how this is doing. Treat retirement contributions like a fixed expense for your personal financial plan. If you know you need $100,000 to survive in a year and still not feel like you're just barely eking by, living paycheck to paycheck, and you make $150,000, how can we use that extra $50,000 to start setting you up for a better retirement? Balancing your clinic and personal wealth. This can be extremely hard because a lot of times they feel like they're one and the same. Maintain enough cash in the clinic for operations and growth. You want to make sure cash is there just to maintain if anything happens to you. You want to be able to grow. If you need to hire another doctor, if you need to hire another receptionist, a practice manager, you don't want to bleed it dry. You do need to separate your clinic profit from personal retirement planning. Sometimes you need to make sure that the profit is maintained, but you can't just take every single dollar. Avoid relying solely on the eventual sale of the practice for retirement. You may or may not be able to sell your clinic. Chances are you will be able to, but it might not be for a multiple you're comfortable with. If you own the building, that's another thing to factor in, but act like that's not an option. Tax benefits of retirement planning. Contributions reduce taxable income depending on the type of retirement account. Earnings can grow tax deferred until withdrawal. That means that you could have $10,000 put in, and in 15 years, that could be worth $50,000. And you don't get taxed on it until you take it out later. It can reduce overall personal and clinic tax liability if you do this correctly. And planning now will mean a smoother transition later. You don't have to worry. You don't have to stress. It is something that you need to look at, though. Common mistakes to avoid. Waiting too long to start contributions. There's a graphic out there. I should have grabbed it. I didn't. That shows what $1,000 is if you invest it at 20, 25, 30, 35, 60, and how much that grows until 65. And the earlier you start, the better. You know, the saying goes, yesterday was the best day to get started. Today is the next best. And then overestimating future clinic sale value is also going to cost you in the long run. You might be in a time when clinics are selling for a 2 to 1, a 2.5 to 1. It could be a 10 to 1. It's just one of those things you can't count on it until you actually know. Not taking advantage of a high contribution limit. You are high earners. Most veterinarians, excuse me. Most veterinarians do earn a significant amount if they own their own clinic, even if it doesn't feel like it. So, how can we make it so that you do feel like you have that there? Sometimes that means cutting back in other areas, consolidating debt, reducing the overall overhead. There's things we need to look at in conjunction with this so you can start taking care of yourself and your future you. And then failing to coordinate retirement strategy with personal financial goals. You want to retire at some point. Now, that doesn't mean you don't want to work. That just means you're tired of working 50, 60, 70 hours a week as a solo practitioner. And you would like to get down to you come in once or twice a week for someone else to help them. Coordinating your retirement strategy and your financial goals can help you with that. Your retirement plan should work as hard as you do in the clinic. Your retirement plan needs to be built for you. This is something we help with. This is Henson CPA Group. We are veterinary financial experts. There is a booking link in the comments. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out.